everybody, and a very pleasant good afternoon to you, wherever you may be.
And welcome to episode 6, Screwballs the Podcast. As you know, I'm your host, Jake Gallo. This is my co-host producer, Mr. Brian.
Hello.
And welcome. Thanks for tuning in. As always, we appreciate it. Got a great show today for you guys. This one's going to be fun. We got a big special guest on the podcast today. We have comedic legend, icon, actor, writer, stand-up comic, Brooklyn born and raised, Mr. Eddie Pepitone will be joining us at the end of the segment to talk about his days growing up in Brooklyn, being a Yankee fan. He'll also talk a little bit. He's got a great story about Mr. Joe Pepitone. No relation, we found out, but we'll get into it. Brian, we were talking earlier about how Eddie Pepitone being born in Brooklyn in the 60s in New York or the 50s. Joe Pepitone is from Brooklyn.
Joe Pepitone, he was up, and man, that guy, you know, he was crowding the plate. Wow, Joe Pepitone. Yeah, well, Joe Pepitone or not, I own the inside of that plate.
You think like, oh, I wonder if they're related. They're Italian, the same last name.
Hey, Anthony, where's the old man? He said he'd be waiting outside.
Want me to go get him?
Hey, did you hear the game last night? Joey Pepitone, 3 RBIs.
No kidding.
My whole theory on this is that Italian Americans in the boroughs of New York back in the 50s, 60s, even the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, probably even today, was a lot like modern day East Los Angeles in terms of there were so many Italian American immigrants that the last names, like you would think, oh, Eddie Pepitone and Joe Pepitone might be related.
Right, yeah.
Not at all. That's just a very common Italian last name. My last name is Gallo. That's probably 100,000 fucking Gallo, Wop, Guinea, Dago fucks running around fucking, you know, Sheepshead Bay in Brooklyn and all this shit. You know, it's the same. There's a bunch of Italian last names. Piazza, Gallo, Pepitone. I mean, it's Sinatra even. You could go on and on and on. La Duca. Those last names are the same way that, like, it's not like, oh, Gallo, I'm a Gallo too. It's like, yeah, no shit. There's probably 500 of us in this square fucking 5 miles. My point is, like, modern day Mexicans in like East Los Angeles. I was telling Brian, there is probably, and no bullshit, there's probably at least 10 to 20 Fernando Valenzuelas that live in Boyle Heights or City Terrace, East LA.
Yeah.
You know, that have absolutely zero relation to the actual Fernando Valenzuela, the pitcher. That was my point. It's like, that's the same way. It's just like, you know, out here in California, it's Martinez, Gomez, Gonzalez, Valenzuela. Like, those are very common last names for the area. Just there's a lot of Mexican Americans, a lot of Mexicans here, Southern Californians, we know. That's how the boroughs were in New York back in the day. But it was polluted with Irish and Italian predominantly, mostly Italian in that area. So same thing. It's like, oh, Pepitone, I bet he's related to Joe. It's like, no, they're just both wops in fucking Brooklyn. I can say those derogatory terms because I am, you know, I am a guinea. Anyway, so we got that on the podcast. We'll get into it. Baseball season's going fun. Dodgers are in first. Yankees are in first. You know, that's what we want. We want tradition. We want classic. You know, I'm sorry. I like when little market teams come out of nowhere, but I also hate it. Who the fuck wants to watch? I'm sorry. The Kansas City Royals and the San Francisco Giants was the boringest World Series in 2014 ever. I don't know. For what it's worth, I kind of do want to see Yankees, Dodgers. You know, Red Sox, Dodgers. I'm naming Dodgers and all this shit. But you know what I mean? Like classical teams. Cardinals versus the Yankees would be a cool one. Shit like that. You know, I don't really want to see Tampa Bay and Pittsburgh. Like, I like the Pirates, but you get it. Anyway, let's stop fucking around. Let's get to our section. Let's see what's going on with Lenny, our old buddy Lenny Dykstra. You guys ready to check in with Lenny? It's Pride Month. Let's see what Lenny's got to say. I'm sure there's some gold in there. If not, we'll make fun of it anyway. Not Pride Month, Lenny Dykstra, that is. Anyway, all right, let's get into it. Let's go to Lenny and the Mets. Lenny and the Mets. So it's time to check back in with a fan favorite and our favorite, one of our boys, Mr. Lenny Dykstra. He doesn't even have any idea how much admiration this podcast has for him.
None.
You know?
None.
He has none. Lenny, I think you would admire it. You know, yeah, we talk about your dirt and your past and all the shit you've done that's, you know, maybe not the best for a reputation, but then again, so do you.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, you're the one putting the books out. We only know about this shit from you. So you wanted people to know, and I'm telling you, we embrace it here at Screwballs. Like I've said 100 times on this podcast, there is a little Lenny Dykstra in all of us, and I'm pulling for you, man. Underdog, fucking
winning player,
half fucking full motherfucker. Believe it. We know Lenny's a bit of a controversial guy. He likes to, self-proclaim himself as a patriot. He's real into the right-wing shit and Trump, it looks like. So, which is even more entertaining. So I would love to see his take, since we're in June now, which is official Pride Month. Has Lenny hit anything up with his tweets? What's he got? What do we got from Lenny?
We got this one. It's some guy. He's replying to some other guy, but he says, if you gave Doc Gooden and Daryl Strawberry pride hats in the summer of '86, what would they have done to you, Nails? Love your commentary. He says, none of us would have any idea what the fuck they were.
He's all using. He thought they gave him some like fucking pride hats. Lenny's all, I don't know. Don't you get those things in Happy Meals at Wendy's?
Yeah.
None of them would have any idea what the fuck they were.
Yeah.
I was like, you guys would have probably would have done what you did with most of your hats. You would have blocked the cameras out so you could snort a couple of bumps in the corner of the dugout and fucking put that pride hat over the camera. What else does Lenny got saying on his tweets? He seems to constantly be in battle with Ron Darling, even though their whole lawsuit against each other ended in 2020.
Yeah.
What's this shit? What else he's got going?
We retweeted this again, which is
cracking the code.
I don't know if he made this up or what, but this is not an official documentary.
Okay, so
thing.
Lenny made that up like a fucking thumbnail of his own. Cracking the code, the Ron Darling cancer fraud and the MLB cover-up. So for those of you that don't know, there's an ongoing battle here. Lenny Dykstra tried to sue Ron Darling in 2020 for defamation because Ron put out a book, and in it he had said that in the 86 World Series he was just saying what a degenerate Lenny was, and then he had claimed that Lenny called Oil Can Boyd the N-word from the on deck circle in Fenway Park, and Lenny said that wasn't true. I never fucking said anything like that. So he tried to sue Ron for defamation. The case got thrown out by the judge, and Lenny has been on fucking fire. The day the case got thrown out by the judge, here's what Lenny went off and said. Here, bring it up. Let's get into this, dude. This is what Lenny's been doing. Lenny Dykstra rants Ron Darling lied about cancer, vows to expose Mets owners after defamation lawsuit dismissal. He was basically saying, like, the day his case got dismissed, he just flip-flopped that shit and went off on Ron Darling, said he and the Mets owners are trying to cover up. There was a fraud about his cancer for a pity party and all this shit. But then he's just a fucking nightmare. He's been harassing Ron Darling nonstop. This cracks me up, though. Listen to this shit Dykstra said. This is going back to Pride Month and Lenny's whole fucking homage to the extreme right-wingism and not accepting anything else. Dykstra, who has homes in New Jersey and New York City, definitely doesn't care for whom he offends. Before his Uber incident, he even took shots at former Phillies teammate and Braves star and two-time National League MVP Dale Murphy, whose son was struck below an eye with a rubber bullet by a cop while protesting for George Floyd. No children of Lenny Dykstra's have had issues with police resulting from being part of an Antifa mob, tweeted Dykstra. That's because all your fucking children were aborted. Like, fucking, you have no kids, you fuck. You're fucking kidding. Who are you kidding? Tweeted Dykstra, who has served time in prison. Yeah, that's what cracks me up. This part kills me. We Dykstras have proper respect for the men in blue. Are you fucking kidding me? This is coming from Lenny Dykstra. The dude cannot stay out of prison. He tweets how he's been out of prison 5 fucking years like a sober person. Like, I haven't been behind bars in 5 years, but you have respect for the blue? Lenny, are you out of your fucking mind? What is the job of the boys in blue? To enforce the law. You know how many times you've fucking broken that law and been in prison, jail for fucking drugs, fucking threatening people with violence? Like, dude, you keep them employed. So I don't doubt that you have mad respect for them, because without you, there's no cops. Like, do you know what I mean? And vice versa. No, that's the wildest fucking quote from Lenny I've heard. Us Dykstras respect the boys in blue. You're a career fucking felon, dude. You can't stay out of jail. How is that respecting them? By keeping them employed? I don't fucking get it, dude. That's fucking funny, Lenny. We're going to get you on here because I love you and we're going to have you on to talk. All right. That's enough Lenny Dykstra shit today. Let's move on. All right, you guys. I think it's time for our segment this week of In the Dirt. This week, we're going to be covering Yankee legend. The man was known for swagger. He was known for underachieving. He was known for partying, all kinds of crazy shit. You thought Lenny Dykstra was a partier. You thought the 86 Mets were crazy. Joe Pepitone was doing the same shit, but in the 1960s. So let's get to In the Dirt with our segment on Yankee legend and swinger himself, Mr. Joe Pepitone. So today's topic is the great, the wonderful. If you didn't know about him, maybe you heard about him on Seinfeld, Curb Your Enthusiasm, The Sopranos. His name gets dropped a lot in Jewish, Italian, New York-based sitcoms and shows. He's a legend, Mr. Joe Pepitone. You know, for all the talk there is about baseball players back in the 80s and even before that, like we covered the Pittsburgh drug trials, and many of you may have been shocked to realize how much cocaine and amphetamine use and just pure sexual debauchery that goes on in pro sports, but not really. I think a lot of people are always wondering, like, you know, you hear stories about NFL players, NBA, of course, you know, baseball goes for some reason under the radar. Like people seem to think, oh, baseball, it's more family oriented. Even the young guys have girlfriends and kids on the way and they're very religious. And I'm like, bullshit. This is baseball. MLB has been like any major sport forever. I think baseball's always ran under the radar with that shit. But if you really dig into it, they were some of the worst fucking people when it comes to partying, sex, drugs, fucking getting arrested, DUIs. That MLB may take the cake on that. I'm thinking they blow the NFL out of the water. I really do. Now, the more and more I look into this, so Joe Pepitone, he was born in Brooklyn himself. I believe he's from the neighborhood North Slope area of Brooklyn. If any of you New Yorkers, Brooklyn natives are familiar, that's where Joe Pepitone was born. He's born in 1940, right in the middle of World War II. So that guy was born in Brooklyn in 1940. It's like he was born right into the middle of a Woody Allen movie. And he's all the classic stuff. He started off young. I guess he had a real abusive father. And then in high school, he got in a confrontation, and this was in high school in the 50s, I believe. Joe Pepitone got into a fight or an altercation with a classmate, junior year of high school, and the fucking dude shot him in the stomach. And
that's crazy.
You imagine that? You're getting in a schoolyard brawl. This is the 50s, too.
Someone has a gun.
Someone just pulled out a gun. Yeah, well, your old man ain't shit, and pulled it out and fucking pops him in the stomach in the schoolyard. It wasn't after school. It wasn't like, you know, it wasn't a drive-by. It was like they got into it, and this kid just packed a pistol and shot him in the stomach. He obviously lived, but, you know, that was the beginning of it. Like, this guy's life has been pretty nuts. So Joe Pepitone was he was quite a staple because in the 60s, he played with the Yankees from 62 to 69. He was a 3-time All-Star. He basically was the star of the Yankees then. The Yankees, I mean, Mickey Mantle was still on the team, Whitey Ford, but they were fading out. This was into the 60s after the 50s heydays of the Yankees. So Joe Pepitone was the big guy. He was the only guy, you know, he hit 20, 30 home runs, great first baseman, left-handed, had a lot of power. Who's from the neighborhood, you know, but he was like the saving grace in the twilight of the Yankees fading into basically mediocrity after being so big. Joe was the guy. Joe's biggest knock, he never reached his full potential. Reason being, he was a party animal. He loved poon. He loved booze. He loved drugs. He loved toupees, cars, boats. He blew his money on partying, fucking around. And they said if he would have focused more, he could have been one of the all-time greats, even though he's considered still great. I think he hit over 200 career home runs, knocked in 700, 800 runs. You know, he was the only guy then. So lots of people really clung to Joe Pepitone because Mantle was fading. All these other guys were going out. They had a bunch of mediocre, shitty infielders, utility guys. So Joe Pepitone was the guy, but he was the swagger guy. You guys remember Broadway Joe Namath from the fucking Jets in like 69 as well? Yeah, that was Joe Pepitone. This is the kind of guy he was. Like, he was balding, right? And he was all about his looks. He loved to fucking go out on the town and drink and fuck chicks. Like, that was his thing. They asked him about sex. Like, do you have good time? They asked him what New York was like in the 60s, mid 60s. Yeah. And he said, New York in the mid-'60s was everything. They had everything I wanted. He said, this is his own quote, that he fucked half the city of New York and Chicago in the 60s and 70s playing for the Yankees and Cubs.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he would. And he was renowned for bringing hair products with him. He was the first guy that would bring hair products with him everywhere he went.
That seems so weird because he was into toupees. Was that later in his life?
Well, yeah. See, that was his thing. It was all about his looks, but he was fucking balding. He had that long hair because he said he had really curly, Italian hair, and so he'd straighten it out all the time with products, and it basically fried his shit out. So he'd try and lay it back. Looked like all those dudes named Carmine from fucking Goodfellas and shit with that like puffy Barry Manilow 1970s slicked back puffy beehive Italian hair. He had that shit going. He'd losing his hair, so he'd bring a blow dryer to fucking the stadium, and all the dudes would be like, "What is this guy, a hairstylist? Who's this fucking dude?" So he was very vain, all about his looks. Eventually, from doing that shit, he lost his hair, which was devastating to a guy who was all about fucking poon.
Look at his hair, though.
Look at that shit, dude.
That's amazing.
Hey, come on. What do you fucking, That's like the guy he looks like the guy that you see at the end of Goodfellas.
Right.
When they open the freezer, right? And there's all dead. They got Derek and the Dominoes playing at the end of Layla.
All the way over the front.
He had to because he was fucking, his hairline was like in the middle of his head, so he had to pull it forward, comb over, dude.
What a great profession to be able to wear a hat the whole time,
Yeah, right. And that was the thing about Joe. They said he started wearing toupees, right? He'd buy these real expensive rugs to put on his head. One of the fucking ones he had was he had one for playing that he wore under his ball cap, and then he had one that he'd wear when he went out on the town. So he had two different hair pieces, and they said there's a classic story one time during the national anthem, he pulled off his cap to put it over his chest during the national anthem.
Look at this.
His fucking hairpiece came out. Who was that, Frank Zappa?
What is this?
Is that Gallagher or Frank Zappa? I don't know who the fuck that is, dude. Joe, what a legend, dude.
Is that what that was his
Catholic schoolgirls and the tiny mustaches and the fucking Frank Zappa. Dude, he's Zappa, man. What a legend, dude. But yeah, so he had all these toupees going. He got a bonus from the Yankees, and he blew it, they said, in like a week on a boat, a brand new car, and like fancy hair pieces, dude. This is this guy. And I'm sure cocaine. That was the other thing about Joe was he was constantly getting in trouble with the Yankee management, breaking curfew. Curfew's midnight. He come in at 3 a.m. to the point where like his teammate and the first baseman whose job he eventually took, who got traded, he fucking would lock him out at night with like chain the door shut to teach him a lesson. So Joe would have to like go sleep outside in the hallway or fucking like, yeah, dude, and then go and play the next day. But yeah, he would be out all night taking Quaaludes, snorting coke, doing shots, fucking chicks in the back of like limos and shit.
Sorry, I'm laughing at this image right here.
Yeah, look at him, dude. Hey, Joey.
He's got a fucking beehive for it.
Look at that, dude. Fucking dude. What is he, fucking Bobby Vinton, dude? She wore blue velvet. Yeah, I can't sing. You get it. Fucking Brooklyn, fucking hanging out he hung out at the Copacabana. He was good fucking, Of course he did. He would go there with Mickey and Whitey. Here's another thing about Joe Pepitone. He was the first, he smoked grass regularly, and no one else did at the time. They thought that shit was like reefer madness, it was like, how the propaganda on weed was at the time.
It was only for jazz musicians.
Exactly. It was for jazz. It was for colored people that played instruments, and fucking
really good
heroin addicts. Yeah. But Joe loved smoking weed, and he said he did. It relaxed him. No one else smoked. He was the first guy he got Mickey Mantle and Whitey Ford stoned for the very first time in their lives. He said they came in late night to his room. They're, what are you doing, man? Oh, awesome. And he's like, yeah, have a hit. And they're like, no. We don't fuck with that. And he's like, come on, man. I'll change your mind for a little bit. It's nothing big. And they're really? They said no. They said they both took fucking hits of the joint, a couple hits, coughed uncontrollably, and then Joe himself said, he's all, man, they sat down and they opened up to me. You should have heard the shit they were talking about. He said it was like really cool, but like I don't know if they continued on after that. I mean, we all know Mickey's love affair with booze, but yeah, he was an animal, dude. He used to get out there. He got in all kinds of trouble too during his playing days, like getting, I don't know if he ever got arrested during his playing days, but I know he got sent to the minors. He was their star player, and he got sent to the minors for fucking like 3 months as a punishment for breaking curfew. Like, yeah, we know you're our only hitter. You're the only good guy that sells tickets on the team, but stop fucking around. And they sent him down for 3 months, dude, like as a, to teach him a lesson. Didn't do much. Anyway, he didn't. there's a bunch of shit that this guy did. He in 1985, he got pulled over. He was riding in a car in New York with these two mobsters, and they like ran a stop sign or something, and they got pulled over. Pepitone and two other men were arrested in Brooklyn on March 18th, 1985, after being stopped by the police for running a red light. The car contained 9 ounces of cocaine, 344 Quaaludes, a freebasing kit, a pistol, and about $6,300 in cash. Pepitone denied knowing there were drugs and guns in the vehicle. He spent 4 months at Rikers Island Jail in 1988 for 2 misdemeanor drug convictions. I love that he acted like he didn't know that shit was in the car. He was hanging out with 2 mobsters, and he acted like, oh, I didn't know my friend had an 8-ball in his pocket or a gram of weed. No, Joe, you had a couple kilos, dude, and fucking like guns and Quaaludes. Yeah, I had no idea. But so he had that. And then later in 1992, he was charged with misdemeanor assault in up at some lake in New York. And he's got in a scuffle. He got triggered when some guy called him a has-been, and he fucking starts swinging on him.
I would too. Fuck.
He took a lot of shit. And then there was another incident where he was wasted and he crashed his car in the Queens Midtown Tunnel. And I guess he was wandering the tunnel disoriented and fucking screaming shit out and like just out of his mind. And then anyway, in court, the judge told him, you got to slow down on the drinking. You need some help. And he just said, nah, I don't drink that much. It was like,
yeah, it's fine.
And then here's my favorite story. He said when he went to the Chicago Cubs, right? He's, the bleacher bums were great. He said he'd be sitting out there and he'd get hit in the back with a fucking football, like, oh, what the fuck? Turn around, the guys, hey, and he'd start playing catch with the fans up in the stands.
Oh, that's great.
And yeah, it was great. And then he said, he started getting pelted in the back with like rolled up balls of foil. He's like, I opened it up and there were 3 joints in there. I was like, fuck yeah, man. And then he said more. Then it would happen all regularly. He'd be hey, Joey. And then he'd get hit with balls of foil. And he said he opened one of them and there was a gram of coke in one of them. Fucking speed. He was getting thrown speed, coke, weed, all the shit in center field from the bleacher bums in like in the early 70s in Chicago. And he said, I would run and stash that shit in the ivy in center field.
No way.
And he's all, then after the games, I'd go in the locker room, do my press, get my rub down. He's all, then I'd be back out there after the game in my shorts with nothing else on, digging through the ivy to get my shit. He's all, I was the first one at the stadium and the first one to leave. He would get his rub downs, go out and get his drugs that he got thrown, and then get the fuck out of there to go party. Like that was, most people, I'm the first one there and the last one to leave. Joe Pepitone was saying that, no, I'm the first one there and the first one to leave. Like he wanted to get his shit done and get out of there to go fucking hit the town.
Damn.
Like that dude was all about partying. He was all about poon. That dude's, like I said earlier, he claimed he fucked half the city of New York, which I don't doubt, dude. Swinging Joe in the swinging 60s in New York, dude.
He's trying to keep
he was
that
a
last
Yankee
name alive.
star. Yeah. Here's the best part, though, is in 1975, this cracks me up, Joe Pepitone, our buddy here, he fucking posed for Foxy Lady magazine. It was this issue, the January issue of Foxy Lady magazine. Joe Pepitone's in here, full frontal nudity,
Bigger
and
than
as
ever.
it claimed, bigger than ever. Joe was well endowed. I think he knew that. So, he's basically promoting his cock. He wanted to get laid more. You know what I mean? I bet Joe got introduced from people like, they're like, oh, hey, this is my buddy Joe. This is the guy whose cock I was telling you about. Like, he was well endowed. That's why he posed. Like, bring up the pictures. Let's do it, Brian.
Come knock on our door. Come knock on our door.
Dude, look at that picture. Go back real quick, dude. Look at that, dude. You guys tell me, who is that? Is that Gallagher, Frank Zappa, or Barry Manilow, dude?
Good Lord.
What a legend, dude. Look at this dude.
Look at it. Oh, he's got
He
the
looks
scar.
like, fuck, this is like Larry from Three's Company for sure, dude.
That's the scar right there where he got
Oh
shot.
yeah, look at he's got like a 10-inch horse cock and then a big old gun scar in his belly, dude. 70s swinger. Look at the mustache and the nose, dude, and the fucking hair. I bet you this guy was a poon hound. Look at this, dude. He encompasses like Studio 54, dude, right there. Look at that. Cocaine, big dick, and fucking swinging, dude. Was that a fucking hairpiece? It had to have been.
Oh yeah, like, it's got to be.
I love that. That's the hairpiece he's got.
Yeah, well,
like
I
he's
think
rocking
he's got
that.
Several actually.
What is he, Joan Baez? Look at that fucking hairpiece, dude.
Look at this. I mean, did we show this one already?
Joe's hair was more legendary than him, dude. Look at that fucking
He's like from
shit.
he's like in the Beatles.
Joe Pepitone's quite the legend, dude. Doing time at Rikers Island. He's been shot in the stomach as a kid. His father beat him. He's got everything that lines up. He just loved to party, man. Hair pieces, mobsters. He hung out with mobsters too, obviously, as we know. He went to Rikers Island. But there's a funny story where Joe said, so check this out. He would go to the Copa Cubana. He knew the owners. He'd go there with Mickey Mantle, Whitey Ford, and they would just drink. He would buy fuckers drink, get chicks all hanging out with him all night long. He would just put it on his tab, right? Yeah, put it on my tab. He only got paid like $6,500 a year from the Yankees back then, right? Like, which is good money then, but not really. But he said he made $5,000 doing a commercial with Yogi Berra and Mickey Mantle. He got paid $5,000, almost what his salary was for the Yankees. Wow. And he went to the Copa that night with the check and told them, "Yeah, go ahead and have him cash it for me." And they came back with something like $85 and said, "There, your tab's all taken care of now." And he was fucking furious. But he owed them like $4,700.
Jesus.
But yeah, Joe is a legend. Great Yankee. People loved him, dude. Think about that. 62 to 69 with the Yankees. You're following up Mickey Mantle. You're the star. All this guy liked to do was party. He was a swinger. You know what cracks me up is after his career, he went and played in the pro sports softball league. That was a real thing, you guys. Like, really? They paid dudes to play. He played for like the New Jersey Statesmen or some shit. They got contracts. They said he hit something like 489, like 15 homers, 61 RBIs, and some, it's like Parks and Rec softball league, but they got paid. And it was slow pitch. It wasn't underhand fast pitch like college softball. He played in that, and so good that like someone offered the Jersey team $30,000 for Joe's contract to come play professional fucking softball for him.
Wow.
Yeah. But Joe, he lived a quiet life at the end of it. He wrapped it up, He's had a little house and a boat by the water. He's married to his third wife, who he said he loved dearly. He wrapped it up, and then he died in March.
Yeah, this
year.
It's crazy.
I didn't know that. I thought he passed away a long time ago. He was living in Kansas City. He died age 82, and everyone was shocked because of his partying. He was responsible for one of the biggest brawls in New York Yankee Stadium history.
Oh, yeah.
They said up until like the Armando Benitez beating Tino Martinez, the Mets Yankees, there was a big brawl in the 90s. That was the bloodiest brawl. Pepitone against the Cleveland Indians. It became a bean brawl after like the 6th, 7th inning. So for 3-4 innings, pitchers were just beaning dudes, hitting each other. Joe got hit twice. And on the second one, he was at first base and he started talking shit to the pitcher. And they just went at it. And then Joe from first base fucking rushed him. Yeah. And they started fucking beating the shit out of each other. And then like the rest of the game, they just fucking the Indians threw back at the Yankees. And then there was another shit. There was anyway, it was a pretty gnarly brawl. And then he got another brawl at another time. But yeah, Joe was a madman. He was like a pirate, dude. He was fucking pillaging, storming he was an Italian pirate, fucking, Hey, Joey. Yeah, storming the castle, pillaging, fucking all the chicks, drinking all the booze, getting in trouble, going in and out of jail.
He was Lenny before Lenny.
Exactly. They even said Joe Pepitone, they asked him about the 86 Mets, Doc and Darryl and all that, and Lenny, and he goes, shit, Doc and Darryl, all the stuff they were doing, getting laid at the club, getting their cock sucked during games, doing blow, fucking getting DUIs, drinking all night parties. Oh, man, that's nothing. I was doing that shit in the 60s. Yeah. And that's what, and he was serious. Read his fucking shit, dude. That's you want to know where the 86 Mets got their whole fucking thing from. It wasn't even the Pitts. That's where the Pittsburgh drug trials came from. It was from the 60s New York Yankees, dude. Between Mantle and Joe Pepitone, dude, those guys were a fucking cartel.
Yeah.
Booze, sex. They were like the mob, dude. But anyway, that was our bit on Joe Pepitone. If you guys didn't know about Joe, he's a classic. Go check him out. He's got a great history. But moving along from one Pepitone born and raised in Brooklyn to another, we're gonna bring on comedic legend. Our guest for today on the show is Mr. Eddie Pepitone, actor, writer, stand-up comedian, and born and raised in Brooklyn. Please welcome to the podcast, Mr. Eddie Pepitone. How you doing, Eddie?
Thank you, guys. Good. Thank you. It's good to be here. It's good to be out. It's good to be out of the house and in a car.
You are born in Brooklyn. What year were you born in Brooklyn?
I was actually born in Jersey City in 1958. Yeah, but that was just the hospital I was born at. I think my dad had a Groupon or something. And I don't know why I was born in Jersey City, but we lived in Brooklyn the first 9 years of my horrific life.
Okay.
Was in Brooklyn, and yeah, man.
What neighborhood in Brooklyn?
I think it's technically Flatbush.
Okay.
Brooklyn.
The Lords of Flatbush.
Yeah, it was tough. It wasn't tough. I mean, but it was intense. Brooklyn was a little intense because after Brooklyn, he moved us to Staten Island, which he considered the country, people, and it was not the country. It was a suburb, but it was pretty rural when we first got there, As a matter of fact, I'll never forget my first couple of nights there. It was so fucking dark. We were the only house on this block. There were woods across the street. And I was like, what the fuck is going on, man? Did he bring us here to kill us?
Yeah. He brought you out. He read the story about the Manson family in California, and he's all, let's move to Staten Island. I can get away with more shit. Yeah, I wanted to ask you, like, Brooklyn, if you have any memories, like, because you always see shit in Scorsese films and, all these old things, and people want to know, was that what it was like? Was there, were you playing stickball in the street? Were there hot dog carts?
I was playing stickball in the street, and also there was a couple of games that were, I thought, fucking nuts. I don't know did you grow up in Ventura?
I did, but we played a lot. Yeah, I did, right in Southern California. But we played, that's what I'm saying is like, I guess times have changed, but we were in the street every day playing with a tennis ball and a baseball bat, hopping it up, smacking it onto the neighbors' roofs. And then we'd go across the street to the community college and hop the fence and hit the balls from second base over the fence to center field, that kind of shit.
Okay, yeah. And we also played a couple of other street games that were a little violent, like, I'm not kidding. Like, one was, I think it was called Red Rover. I think it was called Red Rover, the game.
Oh, yeah.
And there would be one side of the street would be lined up with guys with their arms held,
holding hands.
And then hands, arms. Yes. Right. And this guy. And then you had to send someone over to try to break through the line. And this was done right in the street. Cars couldn't get by.
Some kid always getting fucking clotheslined, right?
Yes. And it was, I remember just thinking, because I was the type of kid who always, I wanted to be popular, but I always kind of avoided the rough shit, but I always got yanked into it. And, and I would always get injured or something, or, I was psychologically damaged for sure,
Oh, we had, some kid's collarbone got fucking snapped playing street football with us one time.
Brooklyn, that was intense because you're fucking just run. Like, I imagine where you were, there was open space, but we're just running into cars. Like, we're just parked cars that we're playing football against, Parked cars. We're hitting cars, and then the people from the neighborhood crowd, don't hit my fucking car. Get off my fucking car.
Oh, we had a bunch of neighbors.
That was constant.
I used to hit little, like these golf balls with little pieces of wood. I built this miniature fucking Dodger Stadium in my backyard because I just wanted to be there so bad. I was nuts. And I fucking built this thing, and I would take golf balls and little sawed off pieces of maple or wood, whack, and I'd hit them from this home plate, and I would launch them, and they'd go into my neighbor's yard, this little Italian guy, Tony, and they would fly over his thing and fucking break his tiles.
Oh, yeah.
He used to get furious. And
It
same
sounds
shit.
like you had your own mini Brooklyn there.
Well, yeah, but like you were saying, we would wear like 4 layers of clothes and sweatshirts and play tackle in the street. Like, same thing. We just play tackle football in the concrete street and everyone put on put on a hoodie and 2 jackets and a sweater. We're playing tackle.
And the games would always devolve into like someone would hit someone harder than they should have or whatever. And then there would be a fight. That's when I would kind of back away. I would just back away and just disappear, the way I leave parties now.
Yeah.
Nobody knows. Where's Pepitone? And I just always sneak out of parties.
Isn't that the best? I do that shit at my comedy shows. Like
Irish goodbye.
The Irish goodbye is the best thing invented.
That's what they call it. Right. I've heard that. The Irish goodbye.
Yeah, it's fucking Irish goodbye. I just say, hey, I always tell them just because, you want to leave. At this point, my feet are burning. My back hurts. I'm fucking not drunk. I want to go home. I want to get to my bed. And then you got to go through.
The not drunk thing has a lot to do with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because conversations are really boring when you're not buzzed. And with, and then you got to shake hands and call me. Let's go tomorrow. And there's pressure. I'm just into going, hey, where you going? I'm going to take a leak. I'll see you in a sec. And then I just go out the back door and get in my car and fucking split.
I would do the same thing. Like the girl who was kind of attractive finally left. All right. There's nothing here for me. Nothing.
Yeah, right. No, absolutely. That was my motivation to go to junior college class some days. I'm like, I'm not going. And you'd think of the one hot chick and you're like, you know what? I can go look at her for 20, 30 minutes. Hey,
you go to one AA meeting a week because of one woman.
There's guys that are sober that were never alcoholics that go there just for poon. They're like vultures, these fucking guys. They look for these.
Oh, that's terrible. Me, I just look. I did read that. But,
I
just worked the steps. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's a whole counterculture of that shit.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, what did you ever, because everyone, did you ever hang? Did you ever go to Coney Island? That was a big thing.
Yes, man. Like, I fucking loved the hot dogs, and I particularly loved as a kid, their fucking French fries.
Yeah.
Have you been in? Were you? Yeah.
No, I know. I've never been to Coney Island.
Fucking good. They were like the crinkle cuts.
Yes, that's the best one.
Yeah, they were big, and I was a kid. That's the first way I became a drug addict. I was like, please. I'd be like,
to carbs.
At 7 years old. I need a crinkle cut, man.
Crinkle cut.
I need a crinkle cut, man.
The crinkle cut eventually transformed into fucking blow or smack, and then you're just like, Was there Little League? Did you play in Little League, or were you guys just like kids in the street and kind of create your own?
Well, that was in the street. By the way, the worst thing that ever happened to me in Brooklyn, but this was bad. We were playing in an actual field instead of the street. And I was catching, I don't know why. And a guy, I didn't have a mask on, and it was fucking hardball. And a guy hit the ball, threw his bat back. You know how you just whip your bat back after you run at first base? Hit me right in the fucking eye, and my eye ballooned. And I knew I was in trouble when my friend, I said, how is this? And he started crying and ran away. We were little. And I was like, and then I touched my eye, and it was this like size of like a fucking orange or grapefruit. It was bad. Yeah.
I was coaching my son's Little League doing that same bullshit. And they were like 7 years old, right? So I didn't think anything of it. Guy goes, hey, get back there and call balls and strikes. And I was slightly to the side. And it was my son hitting, and this pitching machine, boom, and sure as shit, my son smacks one, and it probably jumped an extra 30 miles per hour off of his bat backwards right into my fucking eyeball, broke my sunglasses, fucking cut on the side of my eye, and I remember going like, man, this is Little League too. I was thinking of those guys that wear them at like 96 to the jaw. And, that's what I wanted to ask you. I was dying because I know you were born about the same year they split. What was the sentiment in Brooklyn when the Dodgers left?
I got the sentiment because I was a Yankee fan as a little kid because I loved Mickey Mantle.
Right.
I love Mickey Mantle. I don't know what it was, man. I used to stand in front of my place and fucking hit a ball. Just imagining I was Mickey Mantle. My first Yankee jersey was a 7, number 7.
That's
and he
great.
was fucking great. But I caught him kind of at the end of his career, man.
Yeah.
Like his knees went. I did see his 500th homer against the Orioles.
Oh, that's cool.
You know,
because that's the way I am, even at this age. As a kid, I was kind of like that with, there wasn't anyone that flashy. I kind of guess I was like that, even though he was 1 year with the Dodgers where he just won the city of LA's hearts, was Kirk Gibson, because of that fucking home run. But yeah, I was into these common, the Dodgers had no superstars when I was a kid. They had fucking Steve Sachs was my favorite player, Pedro Guerrero, Mike Scioscia, the catcher, and I liked Oral Hershiser, Fernando Valenzuela. But I was in that era where Mike Piazza, when I was a young teenager, came out, and that was like, holy shit, who's this guy? And he was a wop like me, so I was like, hey, this is fucking cool. This guy, to this day, the guy that's like that for me and my son is Clayton Kershaw. I love to go watch his warm-ups, and I was at his 200th career win. I saw him break.
Isn't he kind of done, Kershaw?
No, that's the thing, is he's
really
34. He's been in the league since he was 19, and his first month this season, he was 5-1 with a 1.89 at his age. And he had he's in the top 5 in strikeouts still. He's had a bad last few outings. His mother passed away unexpectedly, and he pitched the next day, and then he tried to go against the Cardinals. He was balking, fucking doing all, he wasn't there, it was weird. And so it's like, he pitches tonight against your fucking Yankees at Dodger Stadium, and I really want to go.
Dude, me too, man.
We should go. Hey, I'm thinking of going Sunday because it's a 4:00 game. And it's Bobby Miller, that young fireballer for the Dodgers, and it's the Yankees. I mean, come on.
I would love to go with you. I have fucking voiceover work.
Oh, do you?
That I have to do for this stupid independent movie I did. And the guy's giving me $500. So I said, yeah. You know what I mean?
No, right. I tried to set up
so bad. And
trust me, they never are here. People say, who cares? Whatever. Watch it at home. Like, hey, man. This is the Yankees Dodgers. I went and saw them 5 years ago. When I went and saw them, they were doing interleague play, and they still had Jeter. And Kershaw was like his second or third year in or something. Yeah. That was it. That was like 10 years ago. I've never seen Aaron Judge play live. That guy's a fucking monster. I would love to check Aaron Judge out.
Oh, he's the new Mickey Mantle.
He's a beast. I love that kid. And but yeah, it's exciting, dude. It's the Yankees. That's like, 27 fucking rings, man.
Tickets. They're stupid. I mean, they're stupid. That it's so funny. Let's say you buy, the lowest price I saw on StubHub or whatever was like for a decent, not even decent, but like $280 seat or $400.
Yeah, in the low section.
Yeah. It's hilarious if you fucking get one and, you just lose like 8-0.
That's okay. That's what I want to tell you. My son can't go tonight. We're both diehard Kershaw fans, and I want to see Kershaw. And it's like, I think Servino, who's decent. So it'd be a good game. Oh shit! It'd be a good fucking game.
Oh,
tomorrow's
so
game, the only one my son can go to, dude. It's Garrett fucking Cole for the Yankees, and the Dodgers are throwing that rookie Gavin Stone in there, who's been getting fucking annihilated. I'm like, you are nuts if you think I'm paying $600 to go watch the Dodgers get fucking smeared tomorrow.
Well, you never know, man.
No, that's the thing about baseball. You do never know. But
yeah, I'm really excited about this series, and I guess I'll just watch it on TV. But that isn't bad either. I always realize watching on TV.
Your bathroom's right there. You can go out and take bong rips when you want. You just you're in your pajamas. It's great. Yeah.
I have just I just pee into a cup when the game is tight.
Seriously, I'm like pissing and my ear gets all big trying to hear 1 and 2. I'm like, slow down. This thing's draining. Come on.
I want to get back to your original question about when the Dodgers left Brooklyn. I got the heartbreak and the anger from my parents. My mom and dad were huge Dodger fans. My mom loved Pee Wee Reese and Duke Snyder.
Yep.
And I wasn't really baseball conscious yet when they left. And they said, Well, Walter O'Malley, the owner, was a dirty word. This is really true. And my mom and dad never rooted for another baseball team again.
Wow.
You know?
They didn't even stay with the Dodgers when they went to LA. They were so.
Oh God, no! That's what pissed them off.
Right. Naturally. Oh, if the Dodgers left LA now, I would be fucking crushed. And so many people, and I can only imagine because they were the big thing for Brooklyn, right? Like they always lost.
Had such a fan base. They were the underdogs. They were the bums, you know.
Yes, that's why I think I might like them so much subconsciously. They were always they were the guys that got shit on. You had the Yankees and the Giants who ruled New York. They played the Yankees multiple times. They always got stomped out. And the one victory they got was when Jackie Robinson, he stole home plate. The famous picture, Yogi Berra trying to tag him out, and that was 55 was their only championship in Brooklyn, and they beat the Yankees, and
55,
and it was the fucking Yankees.
Yeah, who could that be compared to? I guess the Red Sox when they won it.
The thing about the Yankees, Red Sox, I said this for years, was like, hey, even up until when the Red Sox started winning a handful of them here and there in the last decade or 2 decades, I know it was a rivalry, but not in the true sense. Like those teams just hated each other, but if you really look at the track record, it was fucking decades of the Yankees just beating the fucking tar out of the Red Sox, dude. There was no.
That was what I liked, and then it was a hatred. It was crazy. I remember even. Let's see. I went to Yankee Stadium. I am 64 now, not to brag. I'm 64, and. I remember, I think I was like 38 or something. I was a fucking adult. I was at a Yankee Red Sox game, and I was still acting like a fucking dumb adolescent going, the Red Sox, to this guy I got into, and they fucking suck. He had a Red Sox jersey on, and he was like, whenever the Red Sox would get a hit, he would turn to the crowd, of which I was one of them behind him. And I would be like, fuck you. Like, I'm fucking almost 40.
I recently had to calm down. My son still gets like nervous. Dad, shut up. Like I'll be talking shit. And I have one fucking 20-ounce, $80 beer, and I'm fucking, I'm diabetic. I'm 150 pounds. I love the Dodgers. Oh, my mouth. I'm 18 again when that happens. And I'm like, we're going to get killed. But the thing is, it's one guy and he's sitting there saying all this shit, especially if it's like some shithead team like the Padres or, that really has nothing to say. You're like, man, shut up. Like, I would be out there as a full-grown adult with my friends getting asked by stadium security to calm down. You're offending families. We were riding the Astros pitching coach telling, hey, Suba, I'm wearing your wife's panties and shit like that, like not really knowing like, hey, dude, there's kids here. They don't know what the fuck you're saying.
Athletes, they get similar shit that comics get. You know what I mean?
Totally.
They get heckled.
Absolutely.
I think they get much. Actually, I think they get much more heckled than us.
Oh, for sure.
The outfielders get destroyed.
Oh my God!
Stadium.
Speaking of that, we're gonna get to this guy now because I had some funny stuff. A few questions. I'll bring that up with Joe Pepitone and his outfield experience when he went to the Cubs. But I'll get to that.
Oh yeah.
Was there any mobsters in your neighborhood growing up? Any guys you were like, oh, that guy's connected, or he did this guy?
Yeah. It was very Italian. My dad's side Sicilian.
Yeah.
My dad's side Sicilian. My mom was Jewish. It was such a funny. It would be like I'd bargain with you before I would get you with piano wire.
Hey, a little Chianti, some Manischewitz, you got Eddie.
Yeah, exactly. But I wasn't aware of that.
Right.
I left
None
Brooklyn
of us are.
when I was 9. Yeah. So I'm not sure. Probably, I'll never forget an incident though that didn't happen too far from us where I think a couple of kids were like abused by somebody, and they thought it was a stranger in the neighborhood. Like famously, this photographer, he was going around taking pictures of the city, and these guys caught him. Their kids had been getting fucked around by some guy. They caught him and they almost fucking killed him before realizing he was just a photographer. They brought him to a basement. Brooklyn style.
Right,
And
yeah.
like, what the fuck are you doing here? What the fuck are you taking pictures of my fucking kid? Like, who
Yeah.
the fuck are you? And he was just
It was
this,
it was like Ansel Adams.
he was like a vegan back in 1965,
Right.
This guy, it was like vigilante justice.
Being a vegan in 65 was like being a Satan worshiper. Hey, I wanted to say, because he's from North Slope, that area. I'm not, a lot of people like to talk their neighborhoods when the old, but I don't know. Born and raised in North Slope, northern part of Brooklyn, was same last name. You have any connection to Joe Pepitone?
Oh that was funny, man, because I was a huge Yankee fan, and Joe Pepitone back then, he never really famously reached his potential. I think the apex of his career was when he was wandering through the Lincoln Tunnel high on drugs. That was his best season.
Ask him. He'll tell you the same. He was a character, dude.
That was unbelievable. I think it was after his career that he got into an accident in the Lincoln Tunnel, and he just got out of his car. And he was wandering through the Lincoln Tunnel going, "I'm Joe Pepitone." And I always thought, that's how it's going to end for me one day, is I'm going to be either the Lincoln Tunnel or the Battery Tunnel. I think I'll do the Battery, which that was later. But the thing with me growing up with Joe Pepitone is that it was so fucking wild that the Yankees he played first base, such a high profile position. And Joe Pepitone was a fucking character from day one, in the sense that he was famously the first guy to introduce a blow dryer into the locker room, right?
Yes, absolutely.
He had long hair. Nobody had long hair back then.
He looked,
right now,
dude.
They all look like fucking cavemen, like, especially in the playoffs, they're all like beards, growing their hair.
Oh, yeah. They look like Neanderthals now, but back then they were,
So he was really popular, and the short right field porch in Yankee Stadium, he took advantage of. And I was in Brooklyn in the heyday of Pepitone's career, when he had his most home runs and he was most famous. So people were always asking me, the kids in the neighborhood in Brooklyn and then Staten Island, when I first got to Staten Island, "Do you know Joe Pepitone?" And I was like, "He's my uncle."
Oh, yeah?
I would lie. Because I wanted to be popular,
That's
I was like, he's
comical.
And the thing is that I am kind of a pathological, like any good comic or actor, I'm kind of a pathological liar.
Yeah, it's good to run with shit.
Because we just make shit up.
Yeah.
We just make shit up.
I'll get a smidgen of truth and go ham with it, and people are like, "What, really?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Just keep rolling with it."
I don't know. At least now, through therapy and antidepressants, I realize when I'm lying. Anyway, so I would just tell everybody, "Yeah, Joe Pepitone's my uncle." They were like, "Holy fuck, man. Can you get us into games or get it?" And I'd be like, "You know what? I'll do you better, man. And I'm just lying. I'm like, I'll get you autographed balls. And I'll get you a couple of autographed bats." And then I would like leave and I say, see you later. And then they would like, where are the bats coming yet? Or, are the balls coming yet? And I'd be like, "Oh, soon, man. Soon."
They're on back order.
And I just wanted to be known as, that's fucking Joe Pepitone's nephew, Finally, it got to the point where they knew I wasn't. I was promising them gloves. Instead of giving them stuff, I started just upping it, like gloves. I think I can get you a jersey, an original,
He just kept upping the stakes to cover for the past lies that made you look bad. No, fuck the glove. I got a jersey coming for you. Oh, no shit.
It's like a Seinfeld episode.
Yeah, it totally was, except they got pissed. My quote unquote friends back then, they all got together and they were like, "You know what? This fucking guy is lying to us.
Oh, yeah, dude.
He's never taken us to a game."
Isn't that funny? I love that you did that. The last name thing kills me, especially Okay, like my last name's Gallo. You would be surprised how many fucking people have asked me, "Oh, are you related to the Wine family?" Yeah. Some lady at a check cashing place asked me that, and I'm in there with a missing tooth and a check for 500 fucking bucks at a check cashing place. So are you related to the Gallo family? I'm like, yeah, I take out the trash. I live under the stairs. Like, fucking, what do you fucking think, lady? Fucking cashing a check for 500 bucks here at a check cashing joint, probably fraud written all over it. I'm missing a tooth, but yeah, I'm related to the multi-billionaire
Dude,
family.
I remember those check cashing days, man. Last week, actually.
Payday advances.
I just drive by the check cashing places now and go, oh my fucking God.
Aren't they brutal, dude? I remember being in there, going in one of those places. I don't know which is worse for your mood or your depression. Like, it's either I go in there or Walmart, and I'm like, I could kill myself in either one of these places. It's like, what does this come to?
I want to end it as a Walmart greeter. Like, I want to, the ammo is aisle 7. Come on in. Ammo aisle 7.
Guns are aisle 12. Take me out on the way out of here. I do us all a fucking favor.
I just want to put the gun here.
Don't hit me in the shoulder
door.
from across the sports aisle. Come right up to me and pop it under my jugular and pull the trigger. I want to make sure this shit ends right.
Yeah, I purposely try to avoid Walmarts, but when I'm on the road, I needed like a fucking t-shirt. It was a bad road trip.
Yeah.
And I fucking went into Walmart, and I hadn't been in one in many years. I think I've been in Walmart twice because they're so reprehensible as far as workers' rights that I'm like, all right, this is where I will draw the line with Walmart, because I can. I was in there, and some woman, she was a nice looking woman, and she had a child, and she just comes up to me, and I'm going, here we go, Pepe. You know, I guess it's the new glasses, the little French hat. She's like, sir, is there any way, I'm shopping, is there any way you could give me money for the child? And I'm like, fucking Walmart, man, where you're just going through the aisles. At least in Ralph's, you know, they have the good sense of to be outside the doors, right outside the doors, you know. And as soon as you get out of Ralph's, you know, they're like, sir, please, everything's wrong.
And that's how I felt like you were saying when she goes, can you give me money for the child? And I'm like, yeah, how much you want for him? You looking to sell this kid? Oh, you need to feed him. I thought you were trying to pawn him on me. I could get 50 grand on the black market for this kid. Yeah, Walmart, I had to buy fucking insulin in there like 2 years ago when my insurance lapsed. And I thought I was like, I think this is the end of my life. I'm buying insulin in Walmart. This is it. This is Section 8 shit. I'm done. I'm going to be in the ER later. I can feel it. It's just an omen. Like I had to buy regular insulin, 1984 fucking insulin. It's like $60 a bottle because my insurance left in Walmart. And it was the most depressing. That was a moment. It was a fucking, I had an epiphany. I'm like, the fuck are you doing with your life, man? Get your shit together. You're in your 40s.
Mine was in the basement of a Dunkin' Donuts giving fellatio to several truck drivers.
Hey,
so
do you remember
I
their
could
old
get a ham sandwich.
Dude, do you remember the Dunkin' Donuts commercials with the lady with the rouge on her face and the fucking, it seems so random that I said that.
Yeah.
Doug Stanhope had mentioned, he's all, back in the day with the old Dunkin' Donuts lady with the perm, and it was a guy with rouge on, and fucking, I was like, I remember that shit when you said giving fellatio in the Dunkin' Donuts basement. I'm all, was it the guy with the wig and the fucking rouge?
And also, I want to say this: I get a lot of shit, because I'm, in my comedy, I'm always like attacking corporate America, like the big money fucking shit, right? Because they're just destroying fucking everybody and the ecosystem. But some of my friends like, how can you be a fucking Yankee fan? They're like the fucking, the biggest corporation, blah, blah, blah. And I gotta say that those motherfuckers don't know that the Yankees, when I was growing up, they fucking sucked.
Yeah.
I caught them right at the end
You
of
did.
them being great. And then all of a sudden, and this fits my life perfectly, I'm rooting for this team that had Ralph Houck as the manager, Horace Clark and Ruben Amaro were our infield. Horace Clark was a second baseman. He was one of these fucking guys who couldn't get a hit. You ever have a player on your team that just, when they come up, you can go to the bathroom. You can go make a sandwich.
Yes, that's the Dodgers have a couple guys like that. One of them is their backup catcher, Austin Barnes. Where I love him as a catcher, but I swear to God, he's an automatic fucking out. When he comes up, I'm like, shit, I thought we were going to score this inning. And I'm like, Austin Barnes coming out with 2 on and 2 out here in the 7th down by a run. I'm like, all right, we're going to the 8th now. I'm going to go take a piss.
Yeah, right. And Horace Clark and Ruben Amaro was so automatic.
Automatic outs,
like,
dude.
Automatic. Like a good at bat for them was a weak ground ball.
Fucking off the end of the bat on a changeup, nubber into the ground.
Like, he
beat out a fucking 60-footer to the left of the mound, and there he is. Everyone's going ape shit because he's on base.
Seriously, if both those guys hit over 150, I'd be surprised. But anyway, they fucking sucked for years. It wasn't until Steinbrenner, crazy George Steinbrenner, who I fucking love.
Yeah, he was a nut job.
All he wanted to do was win.
Yes.
And he started that whole thing.
He was like
spending.
He was the Donald Trump of owners, pretty much, dude. That was Steiny. Steinbrenner was a classic. He did not give a fuck. I was going to say, Eddie, you're absolutely right, because I was looking, I was like, Joe Pepitone was in the twilight of the Yankees' great days. From the 20s to like the 60s, they fucking dominated. And then the 60s...
Right.
It was
literally
parents, Joe Pepitone.
It was just unbelievable. They decide to have a child when the Yankees suck.
They were at the baseball gods. They were angry at him for taking the Dodgers. So let's have a kid and make him a fucking Yankee fan.
So it's hilarious to me that people say I'm like just rooting for this big market team. How could you do that? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, fuck you. I'm like a real true blue Yankee fan that has nothing to do with that front running bullshit. I can't stand front running fans like the people who, let's say this year in the NBA, all of a sudden they like the Denver Nuggets.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Dude, that's fucking, there's a ton of those guys. See, that's my thing is like they say, I got the same shit when the Guggenheim group bought the Dodgers, because they're like multi fucking billionaire. They just, you've seen the Dodgers have been really good. They're like now going, I don't give a fuck. We're going after Ohtani. We'll give him $500 million. We got the money. They're kind of doing that Steinbrenner shit.
I can't believe are they going to get Ohtani?
That's the huge rumor. Yeah, that's why last offseason they didn't do any moves, and everyone's like, what are the Dodgers doing? And they're like, Andrew Friedman knows what the fuck he's doing. He's saving all his bullets for the big fish when it's coming up. And everyone's like, yeah, Dodgers aren't doing anything.
How exciting will that be if the Dodgers get Ohtani?
Well, that guy's fucking nuts, dude.
He's unbelievable.
He's a little leaguer in the major leagues. Yeah. He's coming up and hitting 500-foot home runs and then striking out the side the next inning with nasty shit. It's crazy.
Do you ever go to Anaheim Stadium?
No, I've been, and it's not bad. And I don't,
it's not bad. I hate the Angel fans. They're stupid.
Oh, they're not real fans.
When I went, Scotia was manager.
Ouch.
And they were good, actually. And the Yankees, I would always go to Anaheim Stadium, and I would see them lose, and they had their fucking rally monkey shit. Oh,
you were there in those days.
There are a couple things I really hate. The wave, I think, I saw people in Yankee Stadium recently doing the wave, and I was like, that's not New York. Come the fuck on.
You're right. That's a total
wave,
Dodger Stadium Padre thing.
The wave in New York?
Yeah.
The wave in New York should be the middle finger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's our wave. But now it's like people get up, and I'm like, that's not New York, you fucking idiot. So anyway, New York is changing. It's too bad.
Well, because you guys used to do the whole thing for each player, right? You go around the diamond.
Still do.
Oh, see, that's great. I fucking love that. I love that. That's so cool, dude. That's like
It
old
is.
school
It's
Yankee
really
shit.
the bleacher creatures are the fucking best.
The bleacher
That's
creatures.
what they call. Oh, you never heard that? It's
Well-
in Yankee Stadium. The bleacher creatures, they're fucking amazing.
In Dodger Stadium, we just call them felons.
I've gone to a couple of Yankee Dodger games here. Both games I felt like, and I wore my Yankee shit, right? Both games I thought I was going to get killed. I had never been in a stadium where I felt legitimately threatened by very big Mexican guys who were like really fat
and really drunk.
Really?
Yeah. And they were always yelling at me, you know, like, yeah, fuck. I think we had Matsui, Hideki Matsui.
Oh,
at
yeah,
the
yeah.
time.
Godzilla.
And he had a homer that game. Yeah. He had a homer that game, and the Yankees won that game. I was getting threatened, you know, and I was with another artist friend, so we had no chance of defending ourselves. He was a watercolorist, we were dead in the water, you know.
Well, yeah, because then you're also getting over there to like where the beers kind of take over and suddenly it doesn't become a baseball thing. You're in their neighborhood now.
You remember when the Dodger fans beat a Giant fan to death?
Couple times. Like, yeah. No, I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding. That one with the
remember one.
Yeah, the Brian Stowe one you're talking about. The guy from San Francisco, and he was like left in a coma and shit, and he's all disabled now. And it was two gangbangers.
Oh.
And everybody was like, see, Dodger fans? I'm all, no, those guys were MS-13 gangbangers that got tickets that day, went up there and got fucked up, like a lot of them. But, you know, it wasn't like they're like guys like me that went fucking lost their shit and caved your head in with a brick. It was like gang members doing what they do.
Yeah.
You know, picked on some white guy with tattoos.
I have a friend, but he moved, and a big Dodger fan. And he went to school in the Bay Area. And the Giants, who are this weird team, the San Francisco Giants,
Yes.
I don't know what was going on with the Giants for a few years, but they would either win the World Series or be complete shit year to year.
Yes,
it was hilarious to me. They'd follow up being in last place by winning it all.
Or, yeah,
and
that
I'd be
was
like,
them.
who the fuck is
2010 to 2016, they
Yeah.
won 3 world championships, and every year in between,
Unbelievable.
they were like, where'd the Giants go? Didn't they win the World Series last year? And then the
Right.
next year, they would pop up and surprise
Yeah.
everyone, win the
I
wild
could-
card, take everyone out. You're like, what the fuck?
My friend was a big Dodger fan, and he was up in the Bay Area the year that that incident happened in Dodger Stadium, and they were giving him shit because Dodger fans and Giant fans are like Red Sox Yankees, and it was in a classroom in college, and they were going. My friend is crazy. They were going, yeah, man, we beat the fucking Dodgers ass this year. You know, we won the series. And he goes, and this is like in public out loud to a classroom of people. He goes, yeah, you may have won the World Series and beat us, but we killed one of you guys.
Send one of our guys to the hospital. We send one of yours to the morgue.
Yeah. And there was dead silence in this PC college.
It was like at the Berkeley Library. You see Cal State Berkeley fucking protest. You know, I wanted to ask one more thing. Was what's the neighborhood actually? Was it rough? Was there crime and shit, or was it pretty just like mellow and like any neighborhood? Because Joe Pepitone, when he was a junior in high school, he got in a fucking altercation at his high school, and the fucking kid shot him in the stomach with a gun.
My dad, by the way, he's a school teacher, and he taught the first 20 years of his career, if you could call teaching a career. It's more like a survival, the Squid Game now. But anyway, he taught in John Jay High School.
Oh.
And Joe Pepitone went to John Jay High School, and that's where he got shot in the stomach, I believe.
Yes, you're right.
And so that's more family lore. I remember my dad saying, yeah, Joe Pepitone is a piece of shit. And I would be like, what are you talking about? He's first baseman. And, he told me he got shot in the stomach. He's just scum. I don't know. My dad hated baseball at the time because they moved.
Because the Dodgers.
Yeah.
He was jaded.
So, it was old school Brooklyn. And I do this in my first special. Now it's like gourmet grilled cheese shops.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Brooklyn is gentrified. It's kind of what happened to the Los Feliz area of LA.
Times Square has been ruined. I remember I would be jerking off in peep shows in Times Square on NyQuil in Thanksgiving, like NyQuil and weed on Thanksgiving. I'd be in peep shows in Times Square. I kid you fucking not.
No, that's great.
And now it's all Disney. And if I have to jerk off, I have to do it on the subway or something. I would go into those peep shows and adult bookstores, and you would just be there. And I love the peep booths for some reason. I think it was because I was.
I kind of trying to put that together.
I think it was because I was devastated. Anyway, I would. I just remember all the guys who would be walking around there would just be looking so like guilty, and I would just be like, walking into the peep show thing or going up to the guy for a magazine. I mean, it was really old school New York.
Oh,
I'm glad I got a little bit of that before it became Disney. Now it's like Disney, and you can get a blowjob from Goofy, but it's still not good.
It doesn't feel right.
Yeah, so that's the choice in the world. Like, I'm realizing that the illegal kind of seedy part of life is it's completely been replaced by this corporate stuff, which is way worse, by the way.
Oh yeah,
way worse than jerking off to like a woman jerking off a horse. Now I remember seeing that, and I remember I saw some things I shouldn't have seen.
Oh yeah,
at that age that I was when I was going into these peep shows. I think I started going in when I was 4.
Jesus. What are you,
my
Sam
father would
Tripoli?
Take me. My father would take me when I was 4 into a peep show booth and just show me the ropes. Anyway, I have to go, but
yeah, that
fun,
was
man.
Great. Hey, thanks again for coming on, Eddie. Thanks for doing all that. That was really fun. Good to hear about all the old days of Brooklyn from someone that actually lived it. And hey, you got a show coming up next Saturday, a week from tomorrow, here in Ventura, California. We want to promote June 10th at Namba Arts, 8 p.m. We got headliner Mr. Eddie Pepitone. We'll have the very funny Brian Vokey and Ramsey Badawi. I'll be hosting it. If you can stomach me, come out.
Yes, and I just want to say that my set will be centered around this woman who jerked off this horse.
I'm looking forward to it already.
The horse, and this was the fucking twist of the story, the horse was none other than the great Seattle Slew.
I thought it was Secretariat. I was going to wonder. Was it Big Red?
I should have used Secretariat.
Big Red came from behind a lot.
Known.
But yeah, we'll be there. Namba Arts, downtown Ventura, 47 South Oak Street, Ventura, California. That's Saturday, June 10th with the great Eddie Pepitone. And then you're going on tour, right? You're going to be even going to Europe after that?
Yes. Oh, my fucking God. I hope I make it. I think I might have bit off more than I can chew at my age. I'm touring all over the Midwest. And by the way, with the climate shit, it gets so fucking hot and the weather gets so unpredictable these days.
No, absolutely, dude. Out here it's been raining and it's fucking May. It doesn't rain.
Really?
It doesn't rain in January here, and it's fucking like up in Ventura. Like a week ago, it was raining. I'm like, even for like a half hour, you're like, what the fuck? And it's been freezing.
I kind of like that because I hate the heat. I'm here in the valley, and it's like,
oh, dude, you're in hell. You are in fucking hell, dude.
Yeah. And anyway, so I squeezed in Amsterdam, brilliant me.
Yes,
in between touring, and I don't don't know if I'm going to make it.
You know,
but we'll see.
I burst into laughter when you said that a minute ago.
What?
Because I saw your schedule and I saw Europe and Amsterdam, and I went, I'm 47 in October, and I fucking would have been worn out. I was looking at your schedule.
Dude, I don't know.
I'm like, you're a fucking chief. How do you do that? Like, you just.
Well, let's see if I can do it.
No, but dude, I hate the term kudos, but good for you. That's cool, dude. But I did see your European dates, and I'm like, I personally hate flying. I'm scared shitless of it. I don't trust the science. I don't trust the science behind it. It's too simple. And it's like, fuck it. Yeah, you know how lift happens, right? It's like, oh, we'll get the air on top of the wing going faster than the air underneath it. Yeah. That creates lift, and you're fucking 50. No, that doesn't. It's like the displacement theory with those big cruise ships. Like, despise life, so I just root for it to go down. I'm always rooting for the fucking thing to go down. You're one of the guys in my bit about Spirit Airways that is trying to commit suicide, but is too pussy to do it in the traditional sense with a pill or a gun, so they're like, fuck it, let's rake Spirit. We have a 50-50 chance of going down.
Spirit Airlines is such a horrible thing.
Classic. So Eddie will be on tour. Thanks again, Eddie. Thanks for doing the podcast. Thank you, sir. Be sure to check out Eddie Pepitone. He'll be in Ventura. Saturday in Ventura. Have a good one, Eddie.
Bye.
I'm on 200 milligrams of Zoloft. It does nothing. I just like the taste. Anybody else have a dictator playlist? I was listening to Stalin on Spotify on the way over here, and I'm talking about I listened to early Stalin, not the later shit when he sold out.